Okay, here's just a quick video on finding common denominators. So say I have, and we'll just do some simple ones. Say I have 1/3 plus 1/2, and I want to know what that's equal to. So I have to find a common denominator between these two. So it's not a common factor, it's a common denominator. So I'm looking for a number or an expression when we use x's that both the 3 and 2 will divide into evenly. So like if I pick 3 as an option, 3 will divide into 3, that works, but 2 won't divide into 3. It won't go evenly. If I pick 2, 2 goes into there, but 3 won't divide evenly into 2. But if I pick a number that is maybe a multiple of one of those, so if I pick like, if I have, and I guess this is one way you can look at it. If I have a 3, if I do the multiples of 3, I have 3, 6, 9, 12, etc. If I pick the multiples of 2, there'd be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, etc. What I'm looking for is a common number that they both divide into. So here you can see they both divide into 6. They would also both divide into 12, but I want to find the smallest number. And so I'm going to pick 6. So I'm going to take the 1/3 and I'm going to multiply it by something that'll get me to 6. So I have to multiply it by a 2. But if I multiply the bottom by a 2, I also have to multiply the top by a 2. Okay, similar to the 1/2, I want to multiply it by something to get me to 6. So if I multiply by 3, that'll get me a 6. But if I multiply the bottom by 3, I also have to multiply the top by 3. And so here, with this first expression, I'd have 2 times 3 is 6 on the bottom, 2 times 1 would be 2 on the top, plus 3 times 2 is 6 on the bottom, 3 times 1 is 3 on the top. Now that I have a common denominator, I can just write one denominator, and then I just have to add the two numbers that are on the top. So 2 plus 3 is 5/6. Let me show you another example. So say I have, I'm making these up, 3/x plus 1 minus 2/x minus 1. Yeah, and now we're doing equations here, so let me go equals 4/x squared minus 1. So I'm wanting to get a common denominator between this, this, and this. Now the x plus 1, you have to treat that as a group. I can't treat it as just an x or just a 1. I have to treat it as a group. Same thing with this one. Now this one here, I can factor that. That would be 4/x minus 1, x plus 1. Okay, and then I'll just write the rest of what I have. Okay, so now if I'm looking for a lowest common denominator, I need to include each factor. So here's a factor, 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 factor. The most number of times it occurs in any one factorization. Basically what I do is I pick the biggest one, so x minus 1. It has to include both of those. And here, x plus 1, I already have that, so I don't need to include it again. This one, x minus 1, I already have that, I don't need to include it again. So this would be my lowest common denominator. So if it's an equation, then what I can do is each term, I can multiply it by the lowest common denominator. Notice I'm not putting it over the same thing, I'm putting it over 1. So this one I have to multiply by x minus 1, x plus 1. And this one I have to multiply by x minus 1, x plus 1. In the first one, the x plus 1's cancel out. So I'm just left with a 3 times x minus 1. Notice I wrote the 3 first before that one. It's multiplying, so it doesn't matter what order I put them in. And typically we put numbers at the first. In the next one, the x minus 1's cancel. So I'll have minus 2 times x plus 1 equals, on the other side, they both cancel. So that's just equal to 4. Now I can use the distributive property, 3x minus 3 minus 2x minus 2 is equal to 4. And then collecting like terms, 3x minus 2x is just an x. Minus 3 minus 2 is a minus 5. And then if I add 5 to both sides, I get x is equal to 9. So that would be the solution to that equation I had at the top. Hopefully that helps a little bit with the lowest common denominator. I'd create another video if needed.